Commercial building, concrete building, frame set concrete setup, outward swinging, double doors. And we look at it, we have no primary lock showing on the outside, so we have to identify which one's our primary door. A few different ways we can do that. Sometimes we can look on the ground and see where the wear patterns are. If they use one more than the other, it's not real apparent on this. Sometimes by just pushing on this and kicking it, we can feel which one's tighter. It's kind of hard to tell on this one. The other way that we can finally see it on this one, and it's damaged and ripped off, but it had weather stripping that came across. If you have that on the outside, you can tell that this is your primary door because it has to close against the secondary door when you're closing it up. So a couple things we can do to identify that. When I look at my locking systems now, I've got bolt patterns all the way across that mirror themselves. Real common setups to have drop bars on double doors like this. And then I have this pattern up here. They're a little smaller bolts. These are 1/4-inch carriage bolts. And I'm starting to see that they're right at the seam and they're close together and they mirror each other. So there's a couple options that this can be, but typically this is going to be some type of homemade padlock hasp or something that they put a bolt through at night, any number of things that they can connect the two doors together. So we'll come up and we'll attack it the same, utilizing our primary door, working our way up from there. Ready? Hit! 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 Drive! Stop! One more hit. This is yours. 1, 2, 3. Let's go right here. Ready? Hit! Hit! Drive! Stop! Hit! Drive it! Stop! Hit! Hit! Drive! Stop. Let's go back conventional. Okay. You got a handful right there, so drop up here, let me capture it. Good. Hook? Yeah. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Hold it. Drop our. Right above it here, you can knock it out. Get in there with the hook and knock it out. Okay. Got something right here.
You can see we failed the main drop bar on this door and opened up the doors, and we can see the hasp that's tying the two doors together now. The hasp is pretty good, decent homemade steel with a fairly quality padlock. So you have a couple options here. If it's a weak padlock, we might just move on to the taking the forks in there and trying to twist or break it, maybe even drive it off. The other option is, like you see here, we can drive the bolts on the primary door just like we would on a drop bar. Just focusing on those two bolts and drive them through the door and releasing it from that main system. The last thing we do, if you have a running saw or you have a saw sitting there, is what you'll see us do in this part of the video, and that's just to simply come up and cut that padlock, getting yourself in real quick.
Here, let me capture it. Tap you. Try hook.
Yeah. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
So this setup here was really tight. We actually had to hammer this metal bar down into the mounts and into the frame. And so you'll see, usually we just knock these bars out with the tools. On this one though, when the roof hook comes into the picture here in just a second, you'll see that we actually take the hook and use the old mount as a fulcrum to pry that up and out of there. And that's kind of a nice little trick you can use instead of wasting a bunch of energy hitting it with that bar if it's not coming out. So in a second you'll see we move over to getting this door open, and we could, if we wanted to, go right to the saw at this point if you have it and cut that padlock and be in this in a matter of seconds. In these videos we were trying to show several different examples, like working it with the forks right there. Cheap padlocks you'd be able to twist off or break potentially, or maybe even pull the whole hasp off. The other thing we did on this one was drive the bolts, you can see here in a second. Regardless, what we're getting at is we don't want to come off like we're trying to be anti-saw by any means. We just think it's really important to have a good foundation based in the fundamentals of irons work and using your hand tools, because what we find is, one, it gets you through many situations that we come across out there. And for the most part, these doors you see in these videos are fortified pretty well and they're built with quality pieces. In the real world, yes, you can find stuff that are better than these doors, but at the same time, for every good door like this, you find 10 doors that aren't worth anything. And like you see in these photos, these are all examples of setups that have either real weak mounts or bars, not very high mounts, a bunch of different characteristics of drop bars that would easily be overcome with your hand tools. And that's why we like to base it off of that, because there's so many problems out there that we can get through easily with them. And then worst case scenario, you have your saw and your skills on the saw, and it just amplifies your ability and your skill set to get in a door instead of being reliant on the saw. The tools are always there, the saw doesn't always start.
Go to this one here. Okay. Hit! 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 Drive! Okay. Alright, get that hallet or that hook. Let's see what you
Not enough room over the setback.
What if I come out? Can you get it there yet?
Yeah. Just gotta set that in down.
Right there.
Ready?
Yep.
1, 2, 3. Just hold that there.
Hand me that axe real quick, can you? Whenever you have to.
Okay.
There.
Good.
Safety first.
Drive. Drive. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Nice job.